Hi,
Hello,
hi,
Rose.
hi.
I was waiting in patience for this recording, so excited.
You
Oh,
couldn't
it's
wait, huh?
Azim. I can't hear Azim. Do we have Azim with us?
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi.
Hey, Azieb.
Welcome. You missed last session, but welcome.
Thanks for having me.
We missed your
Good to
presence.
have you back. We miss you.
Thank you very much. I miss you too.
Salu, your sound is a bit there's echo.
Even me? Okay, wait, give me a second. How about now?
Yep, better.
Better?
I love this. It's precisely 10:01. I think it's a great timing that we are starting this session.
Exactly. So, if we are ready and we have our phones down, so we don't make any noises, so we have a good quality of recording,
Yeah.
we can start. How's everyone? How is their week?
It's been great.
Lockdown, Melbourne, how's it going?
I think by now 6 lockdown, we are pretty much used to it, honestly.
But you're still working though, so that's makes it better.
Yeah, I thank God every day for that, honestly. It is quite difficult for a lot of people,
Yeah, as if just did double shift, so the champ.
Workaholic, we can say that.
Really? Is that what you call her?
Mm,
Is Azir with us or has she left?
Hi. I'm just getting back. It's been disconnected.
technical
Is
difficulties
it
once
working now?
again.
I can't hear you much. I don't know what's wrong with the thing.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Can everybody?
Now it's
Okay.
better, yeah.
All right. So we have you now. We set to go.
Yes, I'm ready. We ready, yeah?
We are indeed. So how did you guys take the? I know you guys have no kids, given that none of you have children's. What did you guys think of the conversation about parenthood last week's session?
For me, it was very interesting. We picked up some informations that are we've never known about, or so many experiences that she went through. So they're not very welcome and they're not spoken of in the Habesha community, even normally, I was
Yeah.
surprised to see on the comments a lot of people didn't know about the depression, the postpartum thing and stuff like that. So it was interesting. I've learned a lot, so it was really good eye opener, definitely.
Yep. Anybody else?
I think I always say this, it was just such a wonderful conversation with the both of you. I just found it so intriguing with the whole experience that she had, and she was so open about the whole experience, and you don't really get much of those conversations especially in the Habish community. So I really found that it's such a positive light. There was a couple of people that were in commenting and saying that, especially I think there was a girl there talking about certain things that she picked up from that conversation, let alone, and kind of linking those things with her reality and with her family and all. So yeah, I think it was such a learning experience, to be honest, although we don't, some of us don't have kids, but we're looking forward, so it kind of gave us that guidance.
Yeah. Is there anything to add to that?
Yeah, both Salams has already mentioned it, but in general it shows from the excitement that you get when you have your first child to the challenges and all the post-traumatic thing that has happened related to your giving birth, all things being discussed very openly. It was very like informative to everyone who will be expecting to have a baby or who have
She's cutting out.
Yeah. If we move away from the Anchor app, it kind of stops working.
Okay.
But yeah, until she comes back, I think it was interesting as well. I think you all pointed out what the most interesting part was. I think the most surprising part was the fact that we had when she mentioned the postpartum depression, even men can have it. I think that was the most interesting part, where everybody was like, "What? I didn't know men can have that as well, have that disconnection, or have that mental breakdown as a new parent as well." It wasn't just about motherhood for a mom. That affects men as well. I think that was an eye opener for a lot of Habesha men community.
Yeah.
But I think it's not a topic that was just going to be done in one. I think we will have more sessions about it. I think there's more things we can talk about. We can dive deeper and address issues as we go on what part we can talk about. But I think overall, it was a good conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Do we have Azir back?
Yeah, you can hear me now.
Yes, perfect. We can hear you perfect.
Yeah. So as you all of you mentioned, that it was such an informative and like a very good conversation that you guys had, from the excitement that having your first child to the all the situation that has occurred after giving birth. All the things was mentioned openly, and it's a very such good conversation you had. And like, I'm also looking forward to such different aspects of motherhood in the future, as you mentioned. Like, it can be we would like to also to hear single moms, all that kind of related motherhood in different aspects of the challenge and the post-traumatic. And I'm looking forward to other version of it. Besides, it's such an amazing and informative things, and it shows that we are stepping forward to the openness and all, to reveal all the unnormalized kind of topics. Yeah, I love it. It was nice.
Great. I'm glad you guys learned something. You guys are mentally prepared, I believe. You guys are gonna be parents at some point in life, so you are mentally prepared. So it brings me to our topic this week. We're going to be discussing about seeking approval from others. What do you think that means? What do you think seeking approval from others mean to you? What do you think that means? Let's start off with that, and then I think I'll pass it on to Heini to take us wherever she wants to take us with it.
No, I think
all you today.
As soon as we got this topic, we kind of didn't know what to talk about and where to start. I think it's just such a wonderful topic because there's so many aspects to it. Okay, so I might have like a little twist to this topic, but okay, seeking approval from others. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like there's you might, obviously this is a discussion, so we're gonna have disagreements here. So there's negative parts. Don't get me wrong, it's just my opinion. So there's negative parts to seeking approval and also positive parts. Okay, so I'm gonna start with two. The negative, obviously, seeking approval from others. Why do we need to seek approval from others when we can have those from our own self-esteem and self-love and self-belief? Yeah. And the second part was seeking approval from others could be just how do I say it, a positive way to enlighten and empower yourself, like your parents. We always seek approval from our parents, from our loved ones, because there's always that I don't know how to say it, but like there's always that they always put down, like especially family, they expect more of you, so you keep seeking approval until you get to the top or something like that. But yeah, I just want you to kind of discuss those topics. Yeah.
Anybody else?
That's a very interesting point that Salu, Jaime, I keep calling her Salu, but Jaime mentioned. But what I will add on it is just, yes, it is sometimes good, but when we seek approval, we really need to watch out from who it is that we're seeking approval of. We really need to consider, is that person opinion of me does matter? If it really matters, it doesn't make a difference in my life. I think it's okay
Yeah.
when we seek approval from very close families or like friends that are very special to us, and we held their opinion very highly. That is okay. But then if we go out and trying to impress the rest of the world that really doesn't care about us, I think that's the negative side of it.
Good point. Azu?
As you mentioned, we can see in both positive and negative side of it, but for me, if I have to rate the word seeking approval, it most take me to 90% of negative, because the only way it sounds there are Can you hear me?
No, I just
Yeah.
said that's a high number. Explain. Go ahead, Azu.
Yeah. 90%. Yeah. It's the thing is because from the word they're seeking approval is like it takes the negative part, because if it is constant validation from people, we are asking every time for constant validation, how this one works and stuff. It also cause our it's because of the reason behind is there is a low self-esteem behind. Self-confidence is also at risk. Those kinds of things are related to negative aspect of it, and the only 10% that actually accounts for me, in my opinion, is when we think about seeking approval seeking behaviors. Like, it's very nice to be approved with our family, with our parents, because we have done something good or our behaviors are approved. That's we can get respected because of the behaviors. That's a good thing, but it comes to the point to have self-approval and self-respect before we got that validation. So mostly my idea will be 90% of it is a negative aspect of it, according to my opinion. Yeah.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
Okay.
You got the topic twisted. I love it.
She took it there.
Yeah, that's the whole point. We can't be scared of taking it there. We have to all take it there, and I'm glad Azu took it. I think for myself, about self-approval, seeking approval from others, it all comes down to self-esteem to that person, on how you view yourself. Or it can mean you lack the way you're raised, in the environment that you're raised. You lack attention from everybody, so you try and do things to have people approve it to you because you think that is them showing you love.
Yeah.
Because when someone pays attention is when they can give you criticism, whether it's a good criticism or bad criticism, where they can approve or reject whatever you're doing. But at least that person is paying attention to you, to whatever you're doing. Even if you're doing anything negative, you just do it intentionally to get that person's approval or that person's attention. I think it's all got to do with childhood trauma. Especially if you are still seeking approval from others after you are a grown-up and adult, that has something to do with childhood trauma. That's my intake on it.
That's interesting. I think in all hindsight, seeking approval could obviously mean getting permission from others. It could be that you're insecure about certain things, or it could be peer pressure, all these considerations. But I feel like when we as individuals seek approval, talking from my own experience, I think mostly I would say it's a lot of you're right, obviously it starts from childhood, but mostly it could like the most thing I would say is like peer pressure from others, especially friends group, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to fit into a certain group, and every time you wear certain things or you look a certain way or you do your work in a certain way, there's always that people will comment it, you know. And obviously to fit in you kind of have to get approval from others. But yeah.
Yeah, that to fit in point is true, because
Yeah.
most of the time you want to get approval from others because you want to fit in into a certain area or into certain group of people.
Yeah.
Or about people that have low self-esteem that I've come across will try and get your approval on everything that they do. They think it's not right, whatever they do, they think it's not right enough, or they don't believe they're doing it the right way. So they want to get approved by somebody to tell them, yep, you look good. No, yep, that is correct, that is good.
Yeah.
So most of the time that comes from low self-esteem.
They need like the extra push, you know, whatever it could be, a work, a relationship, or whatever. They always have to like consult another person just to make sure, they're doing the right thing. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So they kind of need like a little bit push.
An approval, which is that seeking for example, I had I know someone that wanted to get approved about everything, like it at the end of the day, no matter what that person did, wouldn't be satisfied unless somebody told her, oh my god, that is good. So that for me comes, if you look way back beyond to why that person is that way, it has something to do with growing up being told you're not good enough. So for me, it all has to do going back, like the cycle of mental abuse, and then it makes you feel like you kind of not good enough. So you have to want people to say to you, oh my god, you are good at this, oh my god, you're so beautiful, oh my god, that looks good on you. You want people to see you and approve you for the way you are now, because you don't think whatever you're doing and as an adult is not right enough.
Yeah, that makes really sense.
Jaime, Azib, do we have them here?
I'm here. I'm just it just got me thinking when you said like it kind of starts from childhood trauma and all those but I was just thinking, when I don't know if you've seen this kind of examples, but you know how when, for example, parents allow their kids to just I don't know if that's a thing, like you over encourage your kids, like you're the best, there's nobody like you, those like over when they bombard them with those kind of things, and then later on they don't know which one is right, and like fitting into those society norms, kind of struggle to get, I don't know, like approval from others. I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
If I can just add to that, actually there was somebody that I was listening to a conversation a while back. I can't give a reference because I can't remember where I heard it. When you tell your child, oh my god, you're so smart, you're so beautiful, we need to make sure we tell them she is beautiful to me. For example, if I'm telling her she's the smartest and she's the most beautiful girl in the world, that is for me, not for the world. Yep. That is for me, not for the world.
Yeah.
Because I want her to go out and expect people to say, you're not beautiful. People are going to be mean.
Yeah.
Every child to their parent is beautiful. But the world is a different stage. So if we prepare them, I'll tell her, you're beautiful to me. That is all that matters for me, is that I see you, you're beautiful, you're smart, you encourage her. and then you gotta remember her when she's out in the world. You are here to the world. The way the world is gonna see you depends on how you are. So I think having them prepared for both worlds, we can encourage them and have them self-confidence build up, but at the same time we need to remind them that is us, the way we see them. The world might not see them the way we see them, and that is okay as well.
They kind of need to know not everybody's gonna see them in that light or in that sense, so they kind of need to be prepared for the negative feedbacks as well. It's good to build, their confidence up since young age, but not like when you grow up, it's a reality as well. They need to wake up.
That's definitely true. I was just thinking, looking like, let's just come back to reality. Yeah, I'm sure we've all kind of done something to get approval from others, day-to-day life. But when we say seeking approval from others, it's like when constantly you're seeking approval from others, which is unhealthy. Like day-to-day we seek approval for work. Like sometimes I'm sure we've done, like we acted like we know what we're doing, but we absolutely have no idea whatsoever. That's like kind of seeking approval from others, because we don't want to be like, oh no, I don't know this. Like I want to be able to get that top priority or that top promotion or whatsoever. So I feel like considering those those ideas of self-approval and unhealthy approval, it's kind of understandable, because we constantly on our day-to-day life, I'm sure all of us seek approval from others,
or have that in our life, or more. Definitely, it's something that's especially when you're young. I think everybody goes through the kind of same stage where you feel like you have to fit in and do certain things that your friends did, or but I think everybody needs to grow out of it. So when somebody doesn't grow out of it, it becomes a habit of constantly seeking approval, proving yourself to somebody else. That's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah. Sorry, do we have Azib still connected with us?
Yeah. I'm just listening.
You're awfully quiet.
Yeah, because they was so interesting. I was just listening all their perspectives, and also I was just thinking, when we this question was going through my mind, like when we actually said seeking approval, are we actually also seeking acceptance? Or I was just trying to relate to that, like seeking approval is also means of seeking acceptance, because as you said, all of us been going it's rare to find people who are willing to seek out new information to challenge their own beliefs. Instead, most people seek validation for their own preconceived ideas, because for example, we don't want to challenge ourselves in that time. We also all of us at some stage we become what's called seeking approval of others, because we want to also be self-acceptance. I was trying to relate it to that. Self-approval is not only seeking from others, but we also want to be accepted in a society or in a environment that we live in. So we, instead of getting a new information or try to understand new things that will actually challenge us, we want to be accepted. I was also thinking the idea. And the other thing is, when we, as you said, seeking approval, as I mentioned earlier, it's 90% is negative. So for me, seeking approval, it's seeking validation for our false identity. That false identity is caused by and all that stuff that we actually make it to.
That's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah,
Come back. You can't just walk away by just having that big word thrown at us. Where is she?
Come back. Wow.
As even her connections.
Okay.
That is a good point.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
You are up to the ego
so
part. Continue, please.
yeah. So that behavior is that behavior is seeking validation for our false identity. So I was also trying to relate it to that idea that will cause us that's manufactured or created by our ego definition process. We said we are worthy, we are like this kind of things that actually created to make ourselves feel validated or accepted in an environment where we want to be in. So that causes existential stress, craving for evidence, all that kind of related. So that's the reason why I just want to categorize that 90%.
There we go again.
Azim need to move house.
That's a very interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, Jaime, keep going.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, she added identity to it, and it kind of just changed the whole game. To be honest, I was just gonna say, ask you guys, do you think? I lost for words. To be honest, it was she bombarded us with a lot of.
Okay.
Seeking approval change, or what you observed from others change your perspective of your identity, if that makes sense?
Do you mean like trying to seek approval has changed our identity?
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Salu, you want to start?
No, I'm trying to recall, like, the very, like, those moments where I felt like, seeking approval from other people. In a way, yes, it has, because, I feel like when I was doing that, I was, trying to fit in, or like, be good enough to a certain group. Trying very hard to. So I feel like after I came out of it and then realized I can't, like, this is not me. Like, I don't want to do this, When I kind of like realized that what I was doing wasn't right for me, and then it changes the way I think about myself. It made me more confident once I stopped. Once I felt like I don't need nobody else's validation or, approval. If I'm good enough for me, whatever I'm doing, it could be work, anything. If I'm happy with it, I don't think anybody else's opinion is needed more than mine. So I think it made me more confident, made me believe in myself more. Like, it made me see myself in a different light, I'll say.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same kind of scenario mine as well. For me, it hasn't changed my identity, but it made me more confident and on who I was, to have that higher self-esteem and self-confidence that everybody envies to have, especially being Habesha woman with such a high confidence. It's a good and bad, but all that confidence came from, I don't need nobody to tell me how I should dress, how I should act, how I should talk. I don't need to get approved by anybody. That included my parents. Growing up, I did try to get approval, being raised in a different kind of, family dynamics that I grew up in. I wanted to, I was actually having a conversation with my sister about this the other day, how I felt like everybody favored her more than me. So I had to try harder to get approved or to get liked or to get loved by everybody, to get their attention.
Yeah.
So once I hit teenager age, about 17, 18, and I'm like, no, I don't need you to love me. I don't need anybody to give me that attention. So that changed me for better, to go fight and look for something to prove a point to everybody. I don't need you to give me any of that to make me the way I was. From the age where I realized not everybody's gonna have my back or love me, or and it's okay for everybody not to love me but love my sister the way they did. I was like, it's fine. I'm gonna go do my own thing, create my own life, be my own self, separate different identity from everybody. I think that changed me for better. For me, the identity that I got was someone who was strong and fearless out of it. It wasn't something that I wanted to live a life where I wanted to get approval by everybody. So that was my identity, was I became that strong and fearless woman. That's how it changed me. That's what I was saying earlier. It goes way back when you were a child where the trauma starts, but you don't know how to get out of it, and then it keeps going to adulthood and you can't come out of it. That can affect you in a lot of ways. But for me, thank goodness, I think I realized it earlier, and I didn't want to be approved or liked by anybody. I'm like, I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna live my life the way I wanted to. So that was my identity, that strong and fearless.
Wow, that's powerful. I think we have Azib back.
Hopefully we do.
Yeah. The question and you asked, I see it in seeking approval is for me having your false identity that's created by different reasons. For me it's always false identity. I see it like my experience mostly, like I'm the types of person which I don't even listen to the person Adam, like when I was kid and stuff, I was the person who Derek kind of person. But coming to this country,
You still are Derek.
really,
I know, right? She's trying to say like I was a Derek as a kid, as if we know you.
We know you.
I'm
Go
just-
ahead.
so I love by the way. But just coming to this country, for example, I see myself, Salam was mentioning before, like how we go to work and we actually act like we know everything and stuff. The time where I feel like I need I do seeking approval is like when you go to the new working environment and you don't actually know, and people who work in that environment, they already have experience and they just want to be respected and accepted in whatever they want. So that time you just let them be whatever you want, even if you have your own kind of mindset and different way of doing it, those related stuffs. That time you just even when you want to do some steps, you have to get their acceptance and that kind of things. Personally, that's not my personality, like listening to each and everything. But having that false identity allows them to work deep inside, which I'm not happy with.
Did we lose her again?
Yeah.
No.
Um,
I
Honey?
mean,
yes, you're back. Please continue.
Go ahead. Wow.
I
Struggle.
did, but yeah. So that kind of things for me, it totally, for me, is you will be having, whenever you try to approve or accept it in an environment where you just want to, you are hiding your own truth. That moment actually doesn't make point.
Yeah, but as if sorry guys, this is just like, that having that false identity. I don't think that person wants to have a false identity though.
Yeah.
That has something to do with people forcing you to change who you were because they're trying to make. Pardon?
It might not be purposely in my context, which I mentioned that in a work environment you are actually have to accept each other, but the fact that you're trying to fit in to actually allow that person being accepted, that's what it makes it false. That's not you. The false thing is the fact that that's not you at that moment. I'm not a situation. I just think.
I think when she means false identity, it's not about that you are doing it intentionally. It's just that's not you. that's you being a false identity, if that makes sense.
And me,
Yeah.
like I look different way than what.
Continue let as you finish and then
Okay, go ahead, Aj.
What I'm trying to say is like, in the context which I mentioned, in a work environment, you have to fit in. Try to fit in is not like you at that moment. I know you are not creating it, but like you have to adjust yourself to work together with that person. You don't have to even question, because that person actually believe that they have done and they have experience and stuff. That kind of things actually makes you to not be yourself. That's false for me. It changed your it's not exactly your identity and your existence, but the fact that how you feeling at that moment, and the fact you are seeking their approval, you are trying to adjust yourself towards them. It's not exactly identity in this context, but in generally in the work context, it's not identity, but it actually changes you as a person, how you interact, how you act, how you think. All that kind of adjustment you have to make is generally not you at that point, if it makes sense.
Yeah. I'll give Jaime to answer it, but for me it's just work environment where you're trying to fit in, trying to get along with everybody, and having that seeking approval of your family, your friends, your other one, where you trying to fit in because that is what you are surrounded in. I don't think that's what I was saying, that false identity or that identity clash when it's an environment for work, and you have to try and fit in, because that is a 9 to 5 job where you have to come in. Unless you quit, you have to try and fit in. You don't have to like everybody, but you need to get along with everybody to make your working environment healthy for you. Do you know what I mean? But when for me, the way I see it, seeking approval, in a sense, when we take it, seeking approval from our family, or is the study that I'm doing, is it good enough? Is the way I dressed, is it good enough? Am I beautiful enough? There's this thing that you do. These are just examples that I'm saying, that you want to get approval by them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That is seeking approval. Salud mentioned earlier about friends trying to fit in with her friends, because those were the friends that she had around her. She sees them all the time, and she's like, okay, I need to fit in with these people because these are the only ones that I have at the moment. But when she realized, no, I don't need all this to be happy or to exist, and she learned, and then she quit it. It was like trying to fit in and seeking approval. For me, they're two different things. That's all I'm trying to say.
And can I just add, you know how Azu mentioned, sometimes she sees it as a false identity, like something that you're trying to sell, but you're not that person. I kind of see it differently, because when you're seeking approval, it's like who you are, but whatever thing you're doing, whatever work, whatever thing that in this world that you are doing, you don't think it's good enough. So you just need somebody else to tell you that it's good enough. So you are being who you are. You are being true to yourself. It's just that you don't believe enough on yourself. You need somebody else's acknowledgement, attention. It can be anything. You just need that extra person to validate or to approve whatever thing you're doing. I don't think it's a false identity or selling something that you're not.
I just love how everyone has just different perspectives of and we thought this topic was a bit a bit difficult, but I love everyone's perspective. But I think we might be
difficult.
Exactly.
I wonder.
We might be running out of time, but before like the time limit runs out, I just want to kind of share with you guys a beautiful topic by Maddie Haley. So I'm just going to go ahead and share it. You will never gain anyone's approval by begging for it. When standing confident in your own worth, respect follows you. It speaks to me, to be honest. It was just in my head, so I just want to share that.
That's
beautiful.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I want to mention as well, do you think seeking approval or in a sense, I think I just want to add the people's actions as well. The people that we are seeking approval from, the way they act around us, do you think that affects our way of wanting to get their approval because of certain way of the way they act around us? Do you think that affects it? Because the way they act, we're like, oh, they act better than me, so I want their approval. Do you think that is why we seek other people's approval?
That's where the fit in comes from, you know. You was trying to say before we was just having like different ideas on how fit in and seeking approval you was mentioning, but like their action towards us make us to fit in. I can relate it to that, you know. We will be, I don't know how to put this one in a word, but like the fit in also related to seeking approval as well, because the way how they react towards anything we did.
Either.
No, we lost her, I think.
All right, Salu, do you want to go?
I'm just thinking about what you said, but I don't think I'm not sure if it relates to the way they act. I think it's more of how we feel about that certain somebody or that certain group that we think, oh, they are better, or you know, they're much better than me in this kind of way. So to be on that level, they need to tell me that I am good enough, or they need to tell me good. So it's not really their actions. Maybe that person is just being themselves. That's what they are. It's more of us. It's more of the person who's seeking the approval. I think it speaks more about the person's self-worth, self-esteem. You know, it really is just about the other person. It's not really about the person that we're seeking approval from.
I think when it comes to friendship and like that kind of let's see, the way you said, do we look up to them or do we seek approval from them? I think when we start seeking approval, our behaviors kind of start changing, but when we look up to them, it's kind of a different dilemma, if that makes sense. But I think I don't know, this could be off topic, but don't you just hate it when that friend you're looking up to or seeking approval from goes behind your back, or they're totally a different person when they're around you, and that just confuses you, and then you're like, oh, is this approval, or am I admiring them? Or you know, you start questioning those dilemmas in your head, you know.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Or you feel like, oh, like if you see them acting a certain way, you feel like, oh, that's the cool thing to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and trying to do the same thing and hopefully be accepted by them. And then if you see them doing a certain thing, you're gonna feel like, oh, I should be doing that too as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean, Jaime. It's the way they act behind you, as we posted on our Instagram page. Actions don't lie. So whatever way they act,
our next topic.
Whatever way they act is who they really are. For me, that's how I see it. It's not about the way they talk or anything, or the way they pretend to have a life like that. From experience, and as I said earlier, when you have people around you that consistently want to ask you, does this look good on me? Should I get this? Should I go here? Should I buy this? How do I say it? This kind of people, I feel like they need professional help.
Yeah, but I was and actually, you brought it up, I was gonna say, if you ever met or you've known somebody that constantly, you know, just asking for the approval, asking for the encouragement, it could be the littlest, like the smallest thing, but how does it feel when somebody's constantly like asking you if they're doing the right thing?
I think, to be honest, we don't want to go to the extreme. You know, you need help or something. I think you need to start asking yourself those questions and being present with yourself and where do you stand in those situations? How could you?
But Jaime, it's not about going to the extremes though. Like when you know someone, like for example, if I come to you and say, if I'm going out on a date
Yeah.
and I'll call you girls and I'll be like, do I look good? Does
Yeah.
this look good on me?
Mm.
That is normal. Like, I'm just trying to see the way I see, like the way I'm dressed.
Yeah.
Not trying to get approval, but to see if it looks good to go out like that, to just get the vibe, because you guys will give me the honest answer. But
Yeah.
can you imagine calling you guys about every little thing that I do, trying to get you guys to say, yes, that is good. No, don't do this. No, don't say this.
Yeah.
Or even, the way I buy things. I'm about to buy a car. Is this okay?
Yeah. When
That
in that
is one
scenario-
of the when it gets that level, when you pay attention, someone is doing that. It took a while for me to understand that was what was going on, and you need to be able to pay attention to those way of people act around you.
Yeah. In that scenario, there's two things you could do. One is go look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself those questions. Two, I think we need to have a serious conversation.
Brutal, Jaime. You're brutal, Jaime.
I mean, sometimes reality hits hard, so you just gotta be strong and continue. So
But honestly, I feel like I've known like a friend of friends, was constantly seeking those kind of approval from my friends, and I like over the years and over the time, I kind of noticed my friend was getting annoyed by those things. It could be small, like the smallest things. So I'm sure it doesn't feel always great when somebody's constantly asking for you. You're not trying so hard to be the example. You're not trying so hard, to make them look up to you. Sometimes it happens, and then when it happens, it can get a little bit annoying, and sometimes it really affects friendships. I've seen that friendships been affected and kind of like ruined by those things.
I think we have Azib back.
I actually agree on what you've been mentioning, but action don't actually can break down into two.
That's for our next session. Azib.
That's
Don't
what.
spoil
Yeah,
it.
that's gonna be. Yeah, don't spoil it. Spoilers alert.
Then let it be a mystery then.
Yes, it shall
Like-
be.
Okay. Yeah. Then that's.
I think
Lost for words as usual. I think we done. I think everybody has everything. Anybody else wants to add anything?
there's so many to add, but I think we're running out of time, to be honest.
We've got 2 minutes. If you can wrap it up in 2 minutes, if you have anything more to say, Jaime, I'll leave the platform to you. But before I do that, I want to say thank you to everybody that has been following us. The sound quality from last week's live show might not be as good on the podcast, but we're trying to work. We'll get there one day. We'll get the professional sound system soon. Hopefully, I don't know when. But if you guys want to join us every second week live on Instagram, it's called Sanbet Misrora. Follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Same thing, Sanbet Misrora. TikTok, Sanbet Misrora. Please do DM us on topics that you would like us to discuss. And if you have any ideas or issues that you think should be given a priority and we should do more research and do a proper conversation with a professional having on to give us their opinion, we will do that. So to end it, thank you everybody for joining us. Jaime, take the floor.
Thank you all, Sister Auroras, for a beautiful conversation. I just want to leave everyone with a wonderful topic in regards to seeking approval, as the subject was. I do not seek the approval of people who do not approve me. To all sisters and to everyone, thank you very much.
I just want to say one saying as well.
Yeah.
It just says, I love this one. Be like stars, because stars never take the approval of moon to illuminate on night.
Ay,
Wow.
ay, ay, ay,
This
ay,
is why
ay,
we
ay,
have
ay,
sister
ay.
Auroras. Thank you,
Wow.
everyone. I love it.
Thank you,
Love it.
everybody.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.